So good evening, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Monica Kochro. I'm the chair of Anaya Tipinis Foundation. And a really warm welcome to all of you here on behalf of the foundation, my husband Rajiv, my daughter Aisha, and my family. It means a lot to us that all of you are here. So here's how we're going to spend the next hour. I'll talk for about 10 minutes about the foundation and what it's doing and how we're making a difference. And then we have an amazing opportunity to hear from Steve Pemberton, Democratic candidate for US Senate 2020. It is such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you, Steve. He serves as an excellent role model for our younger generation to show us how to defy the odds against what life throws at you. We are so thankful, Steve, that you're here to share that story and to support the foundation's work. And after Steve's comment, we'll show you a brief video here of our awardees right here who are here with us. And then we will have them be on the stage in a panel discussion so you can hear from them, their story, and how it's relevant for them to be part of this foundation, this family. And finally, I'll share a few closing comments with you, talk about a little how you could get involved, or perhaps know someone who may want to get involved with our foundation. So we'll be done with this formal sit-down dinner, or sit-down evening, for about an hour, and we'll be done at about 7:30, and then we'll have the next half an hour to mingle and learn more about the foundation's work. So just to start off, let me just cut to the chase. Let me tell you the big problem we're trying to solve here. According to Pell Institute, about just 11% of students from low-income, first-generation households graduate. That means just 1 in 10 goes to college and graduates in 6 years. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't believe that stat when I heard it. So I came back home, Googled some more. Turns out that's a fact. So what that really means is that 9 out of 10 actually drop out. We don't have an enrollment problem. We can certainly do better there. We don't have a higher education problem. We have a graduation problem. Just imagine 9 out of 10 drop out of college. What are we doing there? If we don't do something about it now, we leave a whole generation of our youth behind. Right at a time when income disparities are on the rise, social inclusion, and all inequalities gnawing at our social fabric. This is not the American dream. This really is the American dream denied. But we are making a difference. We can turn things around. There is hope. And what you learn in the next hour is that the foundation is already making that difference. But with your support, we can do more. We can really pull that number up. About 2 years back, August 11, 2017, Anaya left us. But she gifted us this canvas, which was blank, but yet full of her dreams, her passions, and her values. We took that canvas and we drew with a handful of you, and we drew. We drew lines and color, giving shape to her dreams, her values, and her passion. That canvas was no longer Anaya's, it was our canvas. In time, some of you joined us, supported us, cheering us on. I still remember, we got a check for $5, for $10, and it was remarkable. The sentiment behind that was worth $1 million. It pushed us forward to where we are today. That canvas has all our handprints, as it should be. It's our canvas today. And this is exactly what Anaya would have wanted. She would have wanted this canvas to outgrow her, to outgrow Rajiv, to outgrow me, to outgrow every member of this foundation. Because it really belongs to all of us. It belongs to all of us that want to make a difference, to help each other succeed, and make this world a better place for all of us. It was exactly a year ago that we all had gathered, right down the street from here in a church, where we celebrated our first recipient, Carla Duran Cabellas. She was our first recipient in 2018. And I still remember the foundation was 3 months old, an infant at best. And today I just want to take this moment and share and recognize the journey that we've taken, the immense progress that we made, despite the aches and pains, and my board will know what I'm talking about here. The disappointments that we've had, and yet we are here today with all of you. And this wouldn't be possible without your support. It wouldn't be possible without the unconditional commitment that I've had from everybody that's worked in this foundation. And I just want to take the moment, if you would just indulge me, for me to recognize all of them and just give them a round of applause. Thank you. My family and I are moved beyond words for what you've done, for your support and love that not only heals us every day, but just makes us stronger every day. And you've made this moment, this evening, and this year possible. So thank you. Thank you again. So let me describe now a little bit about the foundation and our journey. When we started, we were focused on helping students get into college. Our thinking, our thought was, if they got into college of their choice, they would graduate, they would find the job of their dreams, and life would work itself out. Turns out, we were off. We were way off. In that journey, we talked to many organizations that work with low-income students, low-performing schools. We talked to individuals, we talked to community leaders. And what we learned was one thing over and over again, that college transition is hard. It takes out even the brightest and the strongest. Let me share. Well, can you guys hear me? Actually, I'm a yeller, so I can just yell. If folks in my group know, I can speak loud. So let me share a story here. It's okay. I don't need a mic. I'm the younger sibling. I had to yell. So I'll just go on here. So I wanted to share a story that I learned in our education about how big the problem is. One of the students who was in his first year of college got a letter from the financial aid office. Just a question, just a clarification. I would have thought that all he had to do was pick up the phone, call, and whoever gave the issue up, or he would have reached out to someone in college to help him out. The story didn't end that way. Turns out he was so embarrassed, so uncomfortable to just walk into that office to clarify. He didn't want to pick up the phone. He found it easier to not show up. He dropped out, and that day he became a statistic. That 1 in 10, he was in that. This story is not uncommon. It turns out most of the times the students drop out. It starts off with actually non-financial reasons and culminates into something bigger, but that's really where it starts. A study done by Boston Globe tracked
I'm good.
No, the camera needs to hear you.
Oh, sorry. Clearly, it's not all about me. A study done by Boston Globe tracked 93 of 113 valedictorians. And I want you to stress, just think about that a little bit. Valedictorians, these are the smartest, strongest of them all. Many of them were going to elite schools. Many of us who have children of college going know how hard it is to get into a good school, much less an elite school. To get into those schools, you need mental discipline, hard work, and a commitment, and a drive. You need it all. Turns out, a third of them dropped out. A third of them dropped out within the first 3 years. One became homeless. All those that wanted to become doctors never did. Not one became a doctor. So why does that happen? It turns out that all of these students had help getting into those schools, much like we help our kids. But once they were in school, there was nothing. They didn't know how to navigate the world, they didn't know how to reach out. There are no funds, no programs there to help them transition into college and stay there. And all the support that we take for granted, and my daughter Aisha can attest to that, she has her dad and me. We are there to help her pick the right courses, drop courses, figure out which professor is doing what research. We can even help her write an email to a prospective employer. This that we take for granted is a privilege. It's a luxury that many don't have. So it became very clear to us in the foundation that if we truly wanted to make a difference, we had to step up. So we did two things. First, we partnered with organizations that have worked for decades with students, with the first generation families and low-performing schools, and with low-income minorities as well. So we partnered with them to expand our reach to students that would need this help. Second, we expanded our support. We provide three things. We provide a cash award of $3,000 to help them with their tuition, their books, and anything else that may come up. We assign them a mentor, a one-on-one mentor, a guide, a friend, that they can call any time of the day, 24/7. The mentor is available to them. They can text them, email them, call them, Skype them, anything that they want. The mentor helps them pick the courses, even figure out if they need to change their major, and even sometimes find them the computer of choice, right, Zeke? So these mentors are there for them. And lastly, we offer them internships. We all know how important hands-on experience and getting the professional network has helped us, and we want these kids to have that as well. So let me give you an example of what we've done. We've partnered with UMass Boston, where any one of them, and that is just one example here, where they can do research over the summer at a lab that focuses on cancer biology, and they can learn, they can get hands-on experience, they can build that professional network that they will need once they graduate, and this will help them for the rest of their lives. So let me describe you now, so what we're going to focus on. This year, first and foremost, we are dedicated to making sure that they stay in college and they succeed. This may be a one-year sign-up that they've done, but they don't know this is a 4-year commitment on our part. We are committed to making sure you guys graduate in 4 years. We've grown 400% in just 1 year. Let me say it a better way. We've impacted 4 times more lives than we did last year. And we want to do more. We can do more. We have the platform, we have the reach to get to the students that need this help. But we need your support. to get that 1 in 10 number that I talked about up, way up. And we can do it. It's possible. We have to be there for the kids, for those who want this education, who want that job, who want their shot at that American dream. And we need your help to take this to the next level. Over the next hour, you'll also hear many ways that you can get involved. Financial support is just one of them. There are many, many ways that you can contribute. At this point, let me introduce Steve Pemberton, who will share his story of defying insurmountable odds and our presence of the community around him provided the vital support he needed. Steve is a successful businessman, a best-selling author, and a 2020 Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate. But his story did not begin here. It began a long time ago. It's a story one touched by tragedy, kindness, and triumph. It all started in New Bedford as a young boy in the care of a single mother who was in the middle of losing a battle with alcoholism, and a distant figure of a father who would ultimately be lost to gun violence. He was then shuffled in and out of unstable and at times abusive foster homes. Time and again he was told he didn't have a chance in the world. But Steve was buoyed throughout his life by neighbors, by teachers, by mentors, across the South Coast and the Commonwealth. He turned his tragedy into a triumph to build a successful career and a beautiful family. He attended Boston College for both his undergrad degree and master's degree, and is a member of the school's board of trustees. He has served as a senior executive at several companies, such as Walgreens and Monster, working in talent, diversity, and human resources. He currently is the Chief Human Resource Officer at WorkHuman, a technology company based in Framingham. He's the author of a best-selling memoir, A Chance in the World, which was published in 2012 and subsequently made into a motion picture. Now, Steve Pemberton is running for U.S. Senate because he believes we need leaders who know firsthand what it is like to be one of the people Washington has forgotten. This is our chance to hear from him and elect an urgent advocate for the unseen, unchosen, and those seeking change. Steve, we can't wait to hear from you, but I have to say, watch out for these three. They may challenge you in 15 years.
Thank you, Monica, for that gracious and kind introduction. At one point, I almost turned around because I was wondering exactly who you were talking to or about, for that matter. So, but thank you, and thanks everyone for joining such an important and critical event. I don't remember exactly all the details of how it came to pass, but we were actually meeting Rajiv Manga for the first time. But when I became aware of what was unfolding with the foundation and reminded of the importance of this and what it meant for me at a critical stage and journey in my life, I could not resist the opportunity. When you are a candidate, there's quite a few things you learn about society and how our politics are architected. And I will confess to you quite candidly that there are many times where I would much prefer to be in rooms like this, actually, with where I believe the real heroes of America are. And I was struck again, Monica, by your comments, because I do think that it is quite a gift to turn the pain of a great loss into possibility for someone else. We need a lot more of that. You know, the idea actually that of the American dream did not come, believe it or not, from our founding fathers, although they certainly embodied the spirit of it. It came from a Depression-era writer. His name was James Trislow Adams. And he was the one who first coined the term the American dream and then subsequently defined it. And he, in essence, said that it was not a dream of material things, the car you drive, the wealth you have, the title that you have. The American dream is whether or not you are able to advance through society based on ability or achievement. A lot of other elements of it, but it would make sense for many of us, those of us who love history, that this was a time when the American dream was severely challenged, perhaps unprecedented in our history. And the importance of higher education as a way for that dream to move forward is something that all of us generally understand. But the challenge is even greater when you're born into situations and circumstances that you inherit, that you did not ask for, but you have the strength and the courage and the conviction and the daring belief that somehow you can create a new beginning. I think that's true for Malou and Dee Dee and Ezekiel, because I think you're actually right, Monica, that as they grow and evolve, the opportunities really are limitless. But we're in a particularly difficult time in our society when the idea of service and the spirit that creates the Anaya Foundation and brings many of you here, whether you're friends of Rajiv and Monica, or you're sponsoring, or you've here because a friend suggested that you be here. This is, in essence, to me, where and how a nation can and should self-correct. I wrote the story of my journey, to be candid. It was really to do two things. One, a family history. I grew up a collision of labels. I had no idea where my mother and father were, who they were, why I looked the way that I did, and I carried that mystery all the way through college. And when I graduated, the loneliest day of my life was the day that I graduated from college, because there was no family there. And I went looking for my family and miraculously found them. But I learned pretty quickly that there were some broader societal forces that had quite literally torn my family apart. And I had inherited that. And it's not the kind of inheritance that you pass along. These are the same kinds of issues, that we see today. Addiction, gun violence, restricted opportunity, particularly higher education, where a lot of these inherited tragedies can be architected and changed, and far too often those who are entrusted with the task of bettering their lives seem to be focused on much more of the optics of service and the shine than the grind. And we have an opportunity and responsibility to change that. So how do we change it? What is it that we do? Well, I think about the people who bent the arc of my life, none of whom had my last name, none of whom looked like me. It was a kind neighbor, Claire Levin, who used to bring me books because she saw me reading the same book over and over again. A director of an Upward Bound program, who Dee Dee was an Upward Bound as well, as are you. And that was so critically important to me because that was the idea of where college came from. I was seated across from my social worker just 3 days after Christmas when I quite literally had nowhere to go. I finally managed to escape this foster home. I am seated across from my social worker, and I'd been there all day, and I was watching him during the majority of that day, calling families, trying to get somebody to take me in. And it is not lost on me that I quite literally have nowhere to go. And at one point, out of pure desperation, he asks me, well, do you know anyone that you could live with? And I almost said, well, isn't that your job? But I knew he was trying to help me. And I said, I don't know anyone. And I barely completed that thought before I remembered an Upward Bound counselor who said that if he ever had a child, he'd want them to be a lot like me. So that is who I called. And that's who I went to live with that night. And that night turned into a week, and turned into my last year in high school. But the importance of the Anaya Foundation, and particularly taking some of the burden off you, in terms of how do you now navigate college, was clear in a conversation that I had with him about affordability, because I had no idea how in the world I was going to afford college. I knew I was going to go, but I had no idea how in the world I was going to afford it. And I'm seated across from him. John Sykes is his name, and he is still with us. And he sends me on this mission. And he says, I want you to go to the guidance counselor's office, and I want you to get this big book of scholarships. You have to sign it out, you bring it here, and then we'll go through it. So that's what I did. And I'm flipping through it, and I will confess to having something of a mischievous personality. And I see a scholarship for left-handers, so I'll say to the three of you, there's actually a scholarship out there for left-handers. And I applied for it. But I'm not left-handed. But I was willing to be. So he sees me doing this, my beloved John Sykes, and he says, you're not left-handed. I said, I know, but I will learn. I will learn. And he said, well, let me see the book. So I slide the book across to him. He looks at it and he circles this scholarship that as soon as I see it, I know I have no shot at this scholarship. And I tell him this, they're going to reject me. And being a teenage know-it-all, I wanted to tell him they're going to reject me. And he says, no, you should apply anyway. And I said, no, Mr. Sykes, it clearly says, Daughters of the American Revolution. And he says, no, I think you should apply. So I did. I applied to Daughters of the American Revolution. And I was right. Okay, absolutely rejected. So I showed him my rejection letter. And I'm very proud. Imagine there's one for me of you, I was very proud of this rejection letter. Because I was right. And I wanted to let you know that I was right. So I showed him the rejection letter, and he literally looks at me and he says, that's not right. I think we should write them back. I said, and say what? He said, ask them if they're sure. So I did that too. It boggles my mind that I did that. But I wrote Daughters of the American Revolution back, and I asked them if they were sure. And they wrote me back, we're real sure. We are not changing our rules for you. So I was told no a lot. But I was told yes, just enough to make Boston College a reality. The day that I arrived on college campus, nobody ever imagined that I would graduate from Boston College in 4 years. In 4 years. And we returned it in my graduate work, and today I'm on the board of trustees. But it's a broader story of America and what happens when those of us born in the margins of society get the one thing that we want. The one thing that Lou, Dee Dee, and Ezekiel want, not a lower one. They just want a chance to show their grit, their resilience, their determination, their skills, their contributions to this country. And what the Anaya Foundation simply says, not just for the first year, but over the course of the 4 years, we are going to be your chance. So for those of you who are employers here and are having conversations with Rajiv and Monica about internships and continuing that path, those are the kinds of conversations that are important, that allow you to change the arc. There is no greater joy I have, and no tougher time that I had than last week when I had to drop my oldest son off at college. Those of you who have had to do that, I wish I had met you before, because you could have told me how hard that is. Because that's hard. He wanted me to go, I wanted him to hang out, but I had to go. But I was reminded, as Monica rightly points out, all of the things that he goes to college with. He knows how to take notes. He knows, at least I think he knows, how to manage his time. All things that I had to learn, one way or the other. But there comes a time, though, when the question for all of us is, what are we going to do to make sure that the American dream is possible for another generation? What is it that we will do? And it's the small things, whether it's bringing somebody a box of books, or a fee waiver for a standardized test, or in this case what the Anaya Foundation does, that assures that the memory of Anaya will always be with us. And so lastly, I want to say something to the three of you. Things that I kind of heard, but I want to make sure that you hear this from this village, because this is what this is, right? This is the village. And what the village says is that we're here for you. But there is a deal, there's a covenant that exists between you and this village. And that is, from where you are right now, and the way that you are, as you head on to the next stage of your life, you do have a responsibility to create opportunities for others. That is the deal here. And you can do that right now from wherever you are, because there are those who need the power of your example, the gift of your perseverance, and I think not just the power of your example, but the future that is going to allow you to create. And that is a certain kind of magic to that, and that never ever really leaves you. But what you're also doing is reminding America not about what makes her great, but what is it about her that makes her good. And what makes her good is this village and this family. That's what makes her good. So now you have this great opportunity, because that's what it is. It's an opportunity, using the power of this village and the power of this example, to do the same for others. And oh my, what an opportunity that is, and that will continue to be. That's the deal. You ready for that deal? You've signed your name to that deal, right? That's the understanding. And lastly, to the village. I imagine that in this most difficult time for the family that you have come to wrap your arms around them and embrace them, and to help them keep the memory of their beloved Anaya alive, not just in what we do, but in the future Anayas of the world. There is something healing about that. Having lost a great deal, I can tell you that there are some things that you lose that never get returned to you. And their loss initially to you is as big as this room. But what narrows that void is the people who come along in your life at the right time, who are not often family, who heal you, who remind you of how good our world actually is. And I hope that in coming to embrace this family, that is not lost on you just how important your presence here is today and in the future. And so, Monica and Rajiv, it is really and truly quite an honor for me to be here in your presence. I am guilty and often accused of being inspirational. I reject that out of hand, because I'm once again reminded that it is I who is on the receiving end of your inspiration. So thank you again. Thank you.
I promised myself I won't cry today, so I'm going to keep that deal. Thank you, Steve, for such beautiful words, your wisdom, and just sharing your story. There is one thing that I did learn 2 years back, that we don't get to choose our tragedy, but we do get to choose our response to that tragedy. And this is our response to that. And thank you for reminding us that how important it is to have that response and to change the lives that I wanted to change. So thank you. I think now we'll show you the promotional video here, and then we'll just follow that up with a panel discussion with the awardees. Just a little bit. The panel discussion is really so all of you can hear from them, their story, and what it means to be part of this foundation, this family. This will be moderated by Sandeep Janarkar, who's here, and he's Anaya's uncle, favorite uncle, I might add. Just a little bit about Sandeep. He serves as an advisor at the foundation. Sandeep is an associate professor and a director of interactive journalism at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. In March 2019, Sandeep received a competitive grant from the Knight Foundation's Ethics and Governance in Artificial Intelligence Initiative. God, you're so accomplished that I'm like, I can't even speak. This is a joint project of the MIT Media Lab and Harvard's Berkman Klein Center of Internet and Society. And this is my favorite part. Apart from that, it was one of the 7 chosen from 500. Jeez. But this will train community journalists to analyze how artificial intelligence and algorithms are impacting immigrants and low-income communities in New York. That's pretty cool. and around the United States. So with that, let's watch the video.
I want to be an environmental scientist.
I want to be a neurologist.
I want to be a civil engineer. I want to become a doctor.
I grew up in a single-parent household, but my mother always told me that I will go to college. I worry that I won't be able to afford college for my last 2 years.
I worry that I will focus too much on work and not in my school.
I worry that I may not be able to afford college supplies and books. I worry that I won't be able to focus on my academics as much as I want to, as well as being away from my family for a long period of time.
There's a lot. I worry that my family won't be able to adjust to my absence.
This scholarship will make a tremendous difference in my college experience because it will lessen the burden of me and my family.
The funding from the scholarship will allow me to focus 100% on my school.
I will be able to find an internship that I love.
Having a mentor will help me, I can't put it into words. It will help me have less worries. They will be able to assist me when I am struggling, and there will always be a person that I can lean on and talk to and ask for advice when I'm facing challenges that I can't overcome on my own.
Thank you to the Anaya Tipinis Foundation for this scholarship.
Shukran jazilan.
Thank you.
I will succeed.
I will succeed.
I will succeed.
I will succeed.
It's wonderful to be here with you. Congratulations to all three of you, all four of you. Bashir could not be here today. We have about 20 minutes, so let me start with the questions. You have all strived to overcome different challenges to get to this point today. Now you're on the cusp of starting college, just a couple of weeks, perhaps next week. What challenges do you anticipate navigating over the next 4 years? What are some of those challenges that you're anticipating? Why don't we start here, Didi, with you?
Okay. So a major problem for me is trying to get accustomed to the new environment that I'm going to be in. I grew up in Chelsea, Mass, which is mainly a low-income and minority community. And then I'm going up to Hanover, New Hampshire for Dartmouth College. So that's going to be a major shift for me. So just finding a group that I can really feel comfortable with is going to be a problem for me.
So I grew up in Brockton, Massachusetts, and it's a town that it's very urban and it's filled with minorities, and students don't have the opportunities that students from other schools do. And a challenge I anticipate that I will face is losing motivation and not being encouraged enough to succeed because of the hardships that I can encounter. But I'm working really hard, and especially having a support system such as my mentors is really going to help me really succeed and not fall in a pit where I can't come back from.
Yeah, for me, it's getting overloaded with stuff. I like to be a busy guy, it's always doing something. I don't just like to be sitting down. And sometimes I get too overloaded and get way too stressed and can actually get nothing done because I'm way too stressed.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. You've just gotten this scholarship, and yet I get the sense that they're already really busy helping you beyond writing a check. Could you actually give me some specifics about ways that your mentors have already helped you?
Yeah, so when we had a meeting, I believe it was last month, when we met our mentors. And at that time, I was having a really hard time with like very personal stuff. And I felt like I could trust my mentor, and I talked to him, and he was like really supportive and really helpful with the stuff that was happening. So I think that's one way that it's really helpful.
So, but give me a little bit more detail, like what? In what way? Like you have the conversations, you needed help getting a computer in some way as well?
Yes, yeah. So I needed a computer also for college because I didn't have a computer. And I reached out to Monica, and she discussed it with the board, and they all agreed on helping me to buy a computer. I actually just wrote my first piece in the computer, like 2 days ago. Yes, and it's not only like just like you said, not just the money, it's also like emotional and with like the mentorship and everything else.
Excellent. What about you? How is the mentorship program helped you?
So immediately after I met my mentors, they were helping me, like the day after. And the way they helped me was they provided a platform that made me feel comfortable with asking questions and asking for support. And an example of this is I talked to them about my struggles with picking a major for college. I told them my interests, and they helped me narrow down a major and a way for me to get into the School of Engineering at UMass Amherst. So my mentor helped me. She told me to call the school, and they also told me to set up the proper classes I needed to get into the School of Engineering. And another big thing, they helped me a lot because my advisor at Amherst gave me the wrong information. And if I never had a simple conversation with them, I would have never known, and I would have been in a year confused and really not really happy. So that was a big thing.
So Sumant is my mentor for the Anaya Tipinis Foundation, and just last night, I made my LinkedIn profile. Didn't have that at all during high school, and he didn't give me a choice. He said, nope, you gotta make one because that's how you're gonna strive in the professional setting. So I made my LinkedIn profile, and
I got the invite within seconds.
yes, yeah. He told me start connecting with people. You gotta get the connections before you get to college. So that really helped out.
Wonderful. Now, as we just heard, there are lots of different types of scholarships. Scholarships for left-handed people, for Daughters of the Revolution, etc. What was it about, what drew you specifically to the Anaya Tipinis Foundation Scholarship?
Yeah, so for me, actually, so the first recipient, Carla, he's been my longtime best friend. We've known each other for like 3 years. And our teacher, who was also one of our mentors, suggested that I did it. And when I talked to Carla mentioned, she talked to me about Monica and how like helpful she's been, and like how they also help financially and stuff. So Carla pretty much gave me a whole broad spec, like a broad explanation of the foundation and why I should join.
So, like most of you already know, this scholarship offers a lot of different things from most scholarships do. Offers like the financial assistance, a mentorship, and internship opportunities. It not only helps you getting into college and paying for your funds, but it helps you through college and after you graduate because you have that network. You already have a resume that's being built through those internships. So those three components really just set you up for success and create a great outcome for us, and it's just something I'm really, really grateful for.
So my college access manager from Upward Bound Math Science, she was the one, Tyomi Cruz, she actually told me about the scholarship because they are partnered with Upward Bound. And what drew me to the scholarship was mainly the mentorship part, because I did hear about the valedictorian project and how even the best of the best in their schools and in the schools of Boston, they still struggle. Just because you got into a pretty good school doesn't mean you know what to do already. So you always need that extra help. And that's what drew me to the scholarship.
Now, we know that internships often students from privileged backgrounds can afford to work for a summer without getting paid, right? It's much harder when you have to work and earn some money to pay for tuition or help your families, etc. I just want to get a sense of how you are preparing for that experience, working with the Anaya Tipinis Foundation, finding internships, working with advisors on the boards. Are there certain career paths that you're interested in? I know that you're interested in being a doctor, civil engineer, environmental science, right? So are you already starting to work with advisors on thinking about an internship? Was that a confusing question? Have you already been talking to people about possible internships? Or how do you see how these internships might help you?
Okay, so now I got the question. Yeah, so I've talked to Monica and my mentor as well about like getting an internship in a lab. Monica mentioned that up here as well. And I mean, I'm just looking forward to it, honestly, because I don't really know any about it because I haven't been in that field, so.
So you'll get to see
Yeah.
if it's something of interest to you.
Yeah.
Good.
So I've been talking about internships. I was in a car ride with Monica, and I asked her about like what field she works in and about what she does, and she was saying like all these great things, so I'm already interested in her job. And it was just like, it's nice to know that you're working with very successful people and they can help you out. Like they'll tell you personal experience about these different internships, so it's not like you're going in blindsided and you have no idea. You connect with them and they tell you what they do, and that's kind of where you discover, oh, I'm interested in that. I like what you're doing. Can I participate in an internship? And that's also the beauty of networking, because you meet all these people and each conversation you have is meaningful because it just helps you discover who you are. And for internships, I definitely want to participate in them, paid or not paid, because the outcome is just great as long as you have the experience after you graduate. That's just the big thing, because the payout is just amazing.
So I haven't looked into internships yet, but Sumant is on the lookout for me. Him and his wife, they're already talking about speaking to their friends and any connections that they have that interest me, that they work in a field that interests me, biology or environmental. So they're going to be on the lookout for me.
So a final question before, I guess, it's the networking session, right, after this. A couple of years from now, you're going to be juniors, seniors in college. Before, definitely by the fourth year, you'll be graduating. You'll be old pros at navigating college. How do you see yourselves giving back to the goals of this foundation and for future scholarship recipients as well?
So throughout my high school experience, I've always been focused on giving back to my community and to think of new ways I can benefit others. With this opportunity, I'm definitely going to take advantage of that and the people that I meet to expose people in my community and people just like me to these opportunities so they can succeed as well, and add to and contribute to the 1 out of 10 rising. because it's very important for people to, you know, share what they have and share what they know, because honestly, when you share what you know and who you know, that's really what's very important, because that just spreads so far and it just benefits a lot of people. And it's, yeah.
So I know a couple years down the road, I'm not going to be in the financial situation where I can donate to the program, but definitely I can become a mentor or just a person on the hotline. If anybody, any future recipients want to talk to me, if they're going to the same school as me, that'll be great, because then I'll be an expert. But yeah, just being a mentor for any of the new students that are going to be in the program, I can help them out with anything.
It's pretty much like they said, just keeping the cycle going. When you get help, you help another one, and that person's gonna help another one. That's how we keep the cycle going to success.
Great, and that, what you're saying is absolutely right. I mean, for a lot of us, the mentors, etc., it's been a while since we were in school, and it'd be great for you all to be still in school with your recent experiences helping the next cohort of scholarship recipients as well. Congratulations, it's fantastic. Best wishes for your school.
Thanks. Thanks, Cindy. You guys can take it with me. That's fine. Well, thank you everybody for spending this hour with us. Is this working? Yeah. I hope we shared some of the ways that this foundation is making a difference. And I hope we can inspire you to get involved. And again, financial is not the only way. Give us ideas how we can do better. Tell us how we can involve more people. You can be a mentor. You can host an internship. There are so many ways you can get involved. And I hope I'll be able to talk to you more. But as we close, we couldn't have Bashir here with us because she's actually in the middle of it's the orientation week, I believe, at Clark University. So we said, I think that is more important than you being here. So that's where that is. But thank you all. In closing again, help us do a better job. And after we have about half an hour, come and talk to us, ask us questions, anything we can help out with the foundation. For those of you who are rushing out and you want to talk to us but don't have the time, please drop your business card, or we have flyers right here. Just grab one on your way out so we can reach out to you, or you can reach out to us. We have our email. You can even go to the website, anayafoundation.org, drop us a line. We'll get in touch with you, or you can just call directly at 617-733-0228. I don't expect you to remember this, but it's all in the flyer. So thank you all. Thanks to the three of them. Congratulations again. Thank you, Steve. It was a pleasure meeting you and hearing from you. So there's some more food, drinks out in the back. Please help yourselves.
So we're here with Monica and Rajiv, founders of the organization. So tell us how it went today and your thoughts.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'm just so humbled that so many people came, so many people feel that the foundation work is important, that the message resonated with them. So I'm thrilled beyond words with the turnout, with how it went.
Yeah, like just 2 years back, we started, and last year and today, it's been amazing progress that we've made. And, kudos to Monica and the team. And, we every Sunday, we sort of get together and meet and figure out how to move forward. And this has really given us a platform to, really focus our energy in a positive way, and helping the kids. And, this is amazing. Yeah.
So this is an incredible turnout, and your scholars are so impressive. An amazing group of kids. And how many more kids do you plan to take on the next year?
Next year we plan to double. So this year we helped 4 scholars. Next year we want to make that 8. And we want this
these scholars to just grow. And of course, we need the support of everybody in this community beyond to make that happen.
Excellent.
So, like in the sense that, we have 40 applicants that we got, I think, last year. So out of that, we narrowed it down to 4 of them. So we definitely want more kids, in terms of applicants coming in as well. So we have to grow the organization, and we are really looking forward to doing that.
It came to me, the Anaya Foundation came to me as a recommendation from a friend. And when I heard about one, what it unfolded for the family, but how they responded to it, well, and knowing how important this kind of benevolence is. I mean, it's extraordinary what they're doing. They lost their daughter, and then turn that pain into possibility for future generations is extraordinary.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like it was a personal connection for you.
It was a personal connection for me in the sense that somebody who knew the family and they connected us.
Right.
But it's also a personal connection because I was on the receiving end of support like this. And I wanted to show, well, here's what happens, right? Here's what's possible when you actually have an opportunity. With the challenges that I faced and that weren't of my doing, this is what I needed. Just that nudge, that chance in the right direction. And then what I was able to do with it, well, getting to Boston College, graduating, successful career, family of my own, that's the real moral of the story. Yeah.
Well, thank you and good luck on your run and bid for the Senate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
So tell us how you like being with the foundation.
Sorry. I just love it because, again, the support system that we get, it's not something that every kid gets to have. A lot of my friends are going through college by themselves. A lot of our parents, a lot of us are immigrants, and our parents have no clue how the system works either. So we have no support from anywhere. We just know we got to go to class and that's it. So I feel that having a support and having people that know the system is one of the biggest things.
How about you? How do you like it so far?
I'm really overjoyed right now because it's just such a great experience being here because you get to meet the people that are behind this organization and people who are helping you and people who are making this possible. And it's just so nice to know I have the support system, just like Zeke said, because I don't feel alone anymore. I don't feel like I'm gonna fall out because I have the mentors there to help me, give me advice and guidance. And I also have the assistance of an internship to kind of solidify a career for me when I graduate. So I'm very grateful and I'm so thankful.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.